Okay, guys, welcome to Anti-Ruggers United Open Mic number 4. Today we will have 3 projects to introduce themselves: TheWayGate, GloryFinance, and KingPad. Nuclear, you can start whenever you want.
Thank you, Jefe. Ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here with you today. Thanks for the opportunity for us to speak to you and give you a bit of information about our project. The project that I'm talking about today is TheWayGate, and what it is in simple terms is through the use of your mobile phone, you'll be able to open an application and scan a real-life 3D object into 3D. Now, the way you do it is you take photos walking around an object, 360 degree. You essentially, if it's in front of you on a table, you're walking around it, taking photos slowly, and essentially those photos will be uploaded to our photogrammetry protocol, and it will process it through the algorithm and give you a real life 3D model of whatever object you've scanned. So the idea is that, I think something's being shown on the screen there. It looks, not sure what it is, but essentially the idea is to revolutionize the NFT crypto space by moving from 2D NFTs, which from our perspective have limited value in nature, and giving people the opportunity to create 3D models and then trade them on our NFT marketplace. Now, the NFT marketplace will be social in nature. People will be able to go on there, like, comment, share their 3D scans, and ultimately that furthers the ability to transact on a marketplace. There'll be an option on the marketplace also for people to access what's called the Metaverse Asset Hub, and that will be a central location where people can go and buy and sell 3D objects. Now, the 3D objects themselves, I should say, will be in different formats, but most popular ones are going to be OBJ and GLB. And if this sounds Chinese to some of you, I apologize, but in simple terms, those file types have the ability to be imported into Metaverse and GameFi projects, subject to those projects facilitating the importation. Projects like Decentraland have already made they've created a program themselves that allows you to import 3D models of that kind. And in the end, we think that there's a huge market opportunity for 3D models, because at this point in time, people just simply can't create 3D models with ease. We think that we're disrupting the industry, particularly in terms of graphics industry, and people who have the skill and knowledge to create these 3D models know that they take time and they're expensive. And for you to get a really nice polished model, it takes quite a bit of work. But enter photogrammetry, which is a new technology that's been introduced in recent times, people using it in drones, in medicine, in engineering, in construction. And through this recent development in technology, people will now be able to do this through their Apple or Android mobile phones. So that's a quick summary of the project itself. There will also be a reward system for people interacting on the platform. So once you're able to log in, you're able to make an account profile and go on there and comment. Each social action, such as liking, commenting, and sharing, will result in users obtaining points. And once a points threshold is reached, users can cash in on those points and use them for various things on the platform, such as paying for gas fees, paying for token transactions, and eventually we'd like to import the option for users to buy and sell using our native token, which is Way. That's the introduction to the project. Happy to answer any questions or engage in any discussion.
I guess I could fire a question. So there have been multiple AMAs on here, right? That had real world objects or items, and or also they would be in the real world and in the metaverse. Like I think Dripto, the shoes, was one of them. There was Crazy Meta, which was also shoes. So I guess a lot of sneaker projects, or there were sneakers was their first product, right? So my question is, I guess, how will you guys set yourself apart from the competition or different than some of the other ones?
Sure. All right. Well, let me start from the technology perspective. So, at this point in time, as part of our minimum viable product, we're planning to release a photogrammetry tool. Photogrammetry tool, obviously, is the tech that allows you to scan 3D objects. But into the future, well, I should say there's been a huge amount of improvement in this area. There's now what's called neural radiance field technology. And what that'll allow you to do is capture whole scenes and also some objects which photogrammetry doesn't like capturing, such as things that are clear, water, that sort of thing. And that'll also be able to be captured. So, from a technological perspective, I mean, the ability for you to create 3D scenes using your smartphone is incredible. And I think that has massive integration potential for metaverse projects and GameFi projects. So, from the outset, we're looking to really set ourselves apart from other projects from a technological perspective. We're really looking to be the front runners in this tech. And look, I'm not sure about Dripto and all those other projects, but I mean, do they allow you to scan using your mobile phone, using an app on your phone to take pictures of it walking around? Not sure that they're really on point in terms of what we're trying to do. In fact, I haven't actually seen a project doing what we're doing at this level. So, from a tech perspective, we're looking to set ourselves apart, and also from real life use case perspective, we're looking to set ourselves apart. I think that there's been a range of projects that we've been talking to at this point, looking for partnerships with us, and the driving force of that is really them wanting to use our application for their own purposes. And there's so many applications for this sort of technology. I mean, I don't want to give too much away because we're not in a position to broadcast many things, but one of the projects that we've essentially already partnered with, I think it's in the final stages, the partnership. They're looking to be able to scan their cars in 3D and be able to transact those as NFTs. And so things like that will come as time progresses. But we think that there's a huge range of opportunity and various applications for this sort of technology. So that's the starting point for us setting ourselves apart.
Do we maybe have the demo of the app working?
Yeah, so we don't have the actual app working. I mean, we do, but it's not in an APK or any form that we could share with you. We've got videos and we've got scans, which are taken using the
Can you?
application. Yeah, Palmetta, can you just flick those on into the chat? Paul's also here with me, so if you could just assist. But certainly there's a few scans that we've taken, which we've been using obviously for marketing purposes, amongst other things. And they're available in our Telegram. You can have a look at them. And you'll be able to see, I think everyone will agree that the quality is quite high. And that's really, again, what we're talking about when we're trying to set ourselves apart from a technological perspective. We're not looking to create just your average 3D model that, looks a bit incomplete. I guess sometimes the mesh isn't complete, and that can really affect the appearance of the model. In our case, we're really looking to overcome that and produce really high quality items and models.
Okay. Boret, can you give him permission so he can post the pictures and videos of that?
Yeah, what was the username again?
Biela Zima.
It's
that's right.
Paul Neda is the username. He's in here as well.
Also, did you have any private sale?
I'll just allow it for everybody.
All right, thanks. Yes, we did have a private sale. We raised 44 ETH as part of the private sale. We've got a pretty good community, a pretty good group of private sale holders, and they've had a significant amount of input in what we've been doing, and obviously keeping our private sailors and all investors happy is one of our primary goals. So they're entrenched in what we do in all aspects.
Okay, what share of the pie did they get for that 44 ETH?
Sorry, can you just repeat that? 10% of the supply was sold in exchange for 44 ETH, if that's what you're asking.
Okay. Can you tell me how can we invest in your project?
Well, at the moment,
After the launch of the token?
So we haven't done our pre-sale yet. Our pre-sale should be done this month. Obviously, we were just trying to make sure that there isn't a significant gap between doing the pre-sale and launching the minimum viable product. We're looking for a gap of no more than 4 weeks before we launch our product, and some of our team members are actually of the opinion that we should be launching with the minimum viable product. But we're just trying to balance all of the tasks, all of the things that we need to do before we're in a position to launch. So it's in progress, but we'll be announcing a date as soon as possible.
Okay. Guys, any of you got any questions?
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about, you mentioned the 10%, right, for private sale. Can you talk about the distribution, like basically the pie chart of all the token allocations, like the 10% for private sale, where the rest of it's going, for pre-sale, for team, like basically the tokenomics?
Yeah, sure. So we've got a white paper available on the website and in Telegram, which sets out all of this. But I'll talk a little bit about the tokenomics. So we've got 20% on liquidity, 10% to private sale, as I've just discussed. The public sale will be 25 of the total tokens, 25%. We've got 10% allocated to marketing, 10% to exchange listings. Team and advisors have 10%, but those will obviously be vested, and partnerships 5%. So that's the breakdown of the tokenomics. The token itself will have a 6-6 tax structure, 1% to liquidity, 2% to development, and 3% to marketing. And obviously, the reason why we've put that tax structure in, we're hoping to remove it entirely in due course once the project is up and running. But in the meantime, obviously, there are overheads associated with 3D storage. The hourly rate of 3D algorithm machine isn't necessarily cheap, and so there are a number of overheads that we're grappling with, and that's the reason why the tax structure is as it is. But we're doing it with the intention of in the future removing taxes entirely. That's our goal.
Anyone else got any questions? Okay, Annie got a question. How do investors make money? Because the valuation of 60 ETH for 10 supply seems a bit high, so it would require a huge buy to move at launch. Can you explain that a little?
Right. So how investors can make money, is that in terms of? So let me start with this. Investors can make money by joining the 3D creator community or creator economy. Essentially, using your mobile phone and creating these 3D models, you'll then be able to buy and sell them. So what we're trying to facilitate is essentially a new type of creator economy. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. You'll see many projects try to do that and fail. But ultimately, we've got this 3D creation tool, which others don't. Now, in terms of the valuation of 60 ETH for 10% of supply, so 44 ETH was raised, not 60 ETH. But huge buys, I don't think will be required at launch. We're looking to launch at around 500K market cap. And so it's a relatively low market cap. And most of the money that was raised is going largely to marketing and also development. I mean, we funded the development ourselves to a large extent, but we certainly do have a good amount raised for marketing purposes. So obviously, we're hoping to use that to increase the awareness of the brand, of the project. So it's a bit difficult to necessarily predict that huge buys will be necessary. I'm not sure I can agree with that personally. But I mean, this is a novel project. It hasn't really been done before, and we think we've got first mover advantage. So that's what I would say in terms of people who are a bit concerned about big buys being necessary at the beginning.
Hey, I think what she meant was, I was reading the chat. Basically, okay, 44 ETH was raised for 10% of the supply, right?
That's right.
So that means the value of
Was
the project itself, or the market cap, would be 440 ETH, right? If 10% is 44, then 100% would be 440.
That's right. Exactly.
That's the, and I think it's a very high valuation to start in the beginning.
So I think that's based on the assumption that all of the supply will be in circulation. But we're still finalizing the details, so it's a bit hard to give an exact. But from where we sit, we think that the circulating supply will be around 55 million, and our pre-sale raise, I think, is in the order of 200 ETH, but it could go more. Essentially, we're going to be launching on GenPad. We're going to be doing a hyper launch, and so we're KYC'd with Assure DeFi already. But with the hyper launch, if we go that way, it can be a little bit difficult to predict, exactly what the price of the token will be at launch or thereafter, or after the pre-sales complete. So look, it's a bit difficult in those circumstances to say that it's 440 ETH. I don't think it is, but obviously, with a hyper launch, it's possible that we could achieve that.
Okay. Are there any more questions from the community? So we can finish with you. So Nuclear, do you have any final conclusion?
No,
So we
look,
can
guys,
move on
we've
to the
done
next project.
Yeah. Look, I'll be quick. Guys, we've done our press releases. You can go on and read those. We've got a website which will be updated shortly. There's a good white paper on there, a pitch deck also, which sets out a lot of statistics in terms of what we're doing, in terms of the market opportunity for this sort of a project. Have a look at those. Any questions, feel free to drop in the chat. We do voice chats, and they'll be done regularly from this week onwards. So feel free to drop in, ask any questions you might have. We're always there to help you, and we're very friendly. So I look forward to seeing you guys in there. Thanks very much again.
Before you go, sorry for cutting you, holding you back. 1 sec. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, go on.
All right, thank you. Okay, so I was wondering. No, I hopped in a bit late. I'm sorry for that. So I don't know if you mentioned this earlier, before I came, but I was wondering what's the statute of limitation on the kind of objects you can scan, basically to turn into NFTs. Are there like a category of objects,
Yeah.
that will not, that will not be on your platform, basically?
Great
Can I
question.
scan my leg and put it as an NFT, basically? So are they like, yeah, I don't know if you understand what I mean.
Yeah. So do you mean what objects can you scan and what can't you scan? Is that what you're asking?
Yes. Basically,
Okay.
is there
All
like
right.
something you see? Yeah.
Yeah, there is a limitation with photogrammetry. So that'll be our minimum viable product will be photogrammetry and later nerf, as I've discussed. But dealing with photogrammetry, first of all, it doesn't like reflection. Obviously, there is an element of skill involved in terms of the creator. If you're using your mobile phone, you're shaking it, and you're unable to keep it still, a tripod's usually very good for that. Things like lighting are also a factor. Obviously, you need pretty good lighting to be able to take good 3D scans and images, and that has a significant impact on the ultimate result, which dealing with the quality of your scan. So things like reflections, like for example, a bottle of water would be a bit difficult to scan. Things that have, again, like a dark or navy blue texture can be a little bit difficult to scan also, but you can counter that by adjusting the lighting. So definitely, as I've said, windows, mirrors, that sort of thing, obviously quite difficult to scan because the engine can't necessarily detect where the outer barriers are, outer lines. And so there are some limitations, but those will be overcome, we think, by the end of the year with the introduction of NERF. NERF is just so much more advanced than photogrammetry, but it's not there yet in terms of quality. So it's able to produce really, really good scenery or item scans, but the quality of them just needs to be improved as technology progresses. So ultimately, there are limitations, but we'll outline all of those on our website as soon as the minimum viable product goes live.
All right. Thank you. But what I meant. Thank you for answering that, even though that was not exactly what I meant, because that cleared some things up. But the aspect I was actually referring to was, on your side, basically on the team side of the team, are there some things that even though they are scannable and you can actually even see them as 3D, NFTs, are there some things that you prohibit from your website? I don't know if I can, but it's basically things that are like sort of 18 plus and stuff like that. They're like something you guys will keep off your this thing, even though they are scannable. Keep off your platform, basically.
Absolutely. You talk about R-rated content. Is that where you're going with it? I'm just trying to work out exactly what your question is.
Exactly, and things around that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, look, we're going to have moderators on the NFT marketplace, and so if there are things which break the law, which we are entirely against, such as sexual content, underage content, all of that sort of stuff, we're going to be moderating it ourselves, and that won't be permitted on the platform. It's prohibited, and we'll comply with the authorities if time comes and people are doing the wrong thing on there. We're more than happy to assist the authorities because things like that. That's not why we're creating the project. It's a serious company. It's a legitimate organization, and we're not looking to taint our reputation by allowing things like that. So the answer to your question is yes, there will be moderation. Things that are explicit will be banned, but again, we'll set them all out in further detail just prior to the minimum viable product and marketplace going live.
Thank you, Nuclear. Thank you for those answers. I appreciate it.
Also, Lockdown have a question. Did you say you had a partnership lined up at this time, and could you give more information about this?
Yeah, we've got a number of partnerships lined up. Unfortunately, I just can't say anything until the agreements are finalized. We're just in final stages with quite a few. So I'd really love to say more. I'm just not allowed, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Also, he's asking, will passive income be possible from your platform using those waystones?
Passive income, I guess, can be achieved in the form of royalties. So similar to OpenSea, and I know that they've drifted away from this concept recently, but we will implement creator royalties, and so creators will have the ability to set their royalties, and obviously every time an NFT is resold, they'll get a portion of that. That's really the only means of passive income that this project offers. And I mean, you can't really call that passive income either. But the answer to that question is unfortunately no. But there is an opportunity for you to create and sell your NFTs, and I think that that's a means to make money.
Okay, great. Great to have you here, guys.
Thanks very much.
I think it's a great project. We'll see how it will end.
Oh, looks like there's one more question in chat.
Is this similar to what Meta Hero was trying to do when they reached 5 billion?
It's similar in some ways. Meta Hero is obviously, we've referred to it in our white paper or pitch deck. I think it's the white paper. as a potential competitor. Now, the difference between MetaHero and us is that MetaHero have designed these giant warehouses, which are in, only a few locations around the world. I think that there was one, now there might be opening another. And those warehouses, they contain, I think hundreds of cameras, if I'm not mistaken. And those cameras are being used to create 3D models and assist in sort of the development of the metaverse and GameFi projects. The difference is that you'll be able to do that using your phone in this case. So we're disrupting MetaHero, we're disrupting the entire 3D modeling industry, we think. So that's the difference between the projects, but similar in sort of ultimate goal, I guess, just a different way to get there in terms of accessibility.
How many pictures do you need to take?
Well, it'll be up to you. Obviously, the more pictures you take, the better. The engine can process a 3D model using, I think, 20 pictures at a minimum. But obviously, the maximum will be 70 at launch, and we might increase that if you want to improve the quality of the scans. So the answer is it's really up to the creator, but I'd be recommending going to the maximum of around 70 photos just to give the engine as much content as possible to model.
Nice. Great, guys. Let's go on to the next one. James, you here?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
GloryFinance. Okay, you can start.
Well, hello, everyone. Well, thank you guys for having us today. It's such a pleasure to be here with the Anti-Raggers United. This is the first time actually we're here. Well, thank you for TheWayGate for the thorough introduction of the project. Wish you guys good luck. Again, thanks for everyone for being here. Thanks for the invitation. So today I'm here to share about GloryFinance to everyone, introduce the concept of it, and share with you our roadmap, our vision, and what we're trying to do. To be honest, this is a very good quality talk, AMA. I like what we're doing here. Actually, we're all trying to contribute to the space, try to grow it, try to onboard new users into it and bridge the gap between newcomers and blockchain, Web3 in general. So GloryFinance. So first of all, my name is James. I used to work previously in investment banking before jumping into crypto. This is not our first project. Me and my team been doing a project before this. It was called Position Exchange. It's a decentralized futures trading protocol. Well, since we've had experience in trading, traditional trading, we wanted to bring something to a blockchain, and we created Position Exchange. Quite successful, to be honest. Reached $100 million in the market cap. When the market was up, reached $120 million of TVL. A couple of months ago, me and a few of the team members decided to leave Position Exchange and jump on a new experience. So here's the story behind GloryFinance and why we started it. So since we are in DeFi, our experience in DeFi, we wanted to stay within this, industry that have a lot of future. The idea was, if you guys notice, currently there are a lot of DeFi protocols out there. They pop up every day. You'll hear 10 or 20 new DeFi protocols, every day, new logos and new ideas and new names. But what we all noticing is we still, these DeFi protocols, the existing ones and the new ones, are still failing to actually onboard new users. And so the rate of the growth of the protocols is very high. Meanwhile, the rate of DeFi adoption is still very slow. So this was, I think, the problem that we had, and we wanted to sit down actually and solve. We go from the assumption that how good is the technology if no one actually can use it? And I believe this is the main problem we're having right now with blockchain and crypto. DeFi protocols and Web3 in general, they're all invested in new technologies and innovation. They compete, they try to, they spend tremendous amount of resources to find breakthrough technologies, but we're still not solving the problems in the root. My friends that used to work with me in investment banks, they still don't know how to use a DeFi protocol. They don't know how DeFi works. And so let alone the Uber drivers that bring our food, so that also is very complicated for them. So we have a problem within DeFi, and I think the focus right now is not on the right place. It's on the products and on the technology rather than on the users. So the idea of GloryFinance was this. So we wanted to take a step back before trying to bring any technology and focus on the user journey. So I think we've all been through the first time when we jumped into blockchain and crypto, and we all know how hard it is actually when you have no guidance, no tutorials, when you have to learn everything by yourself. It took me several months to actually understand what the terms meant in the DeFi protocols. So we go from the assumption that if you actually can use a mobile app, an application to pay, a cash app, or your bank application to pay or to send money to your friends or your families, if you can do that, I think you have the basic skills and you have all what you need to use a DeFi protocol and benefit from all the advantages that DeFi actually brings to users. But we figured out that you have three main problems that are actually creating obstacles between you as a new users and DeFi. Number one obstacle is complexity. So DeFi is very complex. It's very hard to understand the jargon used in different protocols. Also, the steps that you need to take to do one single action, for example, to stake or to invest or to withdraw or to send. There are a lot of things that should be involved: connecting wallets, go into the right function, and so on. And so this complexity here, creates an obstacle for new users. Once they jump in and they try to use a DeFi protocol, they just get the little shock, and maybe they won't try again if they don't have anyone near them to explain how that works. Number two, which is poor UI. Currently, I think Web3 is not leveling up to a Web2 user experience and user interface. As you guys all know, the Web2 applications that we use on a daily basis, Twitter, Facebook, Discord, Telegram, and so on, they're very, very much optimized. The user interfaces and the experience in general, it's very well studied. There's a lot of resources, a lot of research done to make sure they optimize this experience. And fortunately, it's not the case for Web3, again, because the focus of the developers right now is mainly on technology rather than on the user. So there's a lot of friction in the user interface and the user experience in general. And sometimes, it can be frustrating to newcomers, and therefore they might leave the space. Number three and last problem within the current DeFi industry is security. As you guys all know, scams, hacks happen every day. We hear about them, and that scares new users. So we go from, if GloryFinance or any other project can actually solve these three problems: complexity, security, and poor UI, we can potentially unlock mass user onboarding. Now, I'm not saying that solving these problems is actually an easy task. It's actually very, very challenging, and it will take a lot of research and time. But if we can cross some way into solving these issues, that could be a great start, and we can potentially start bringing on new users. And I go from the experience of my entourage, of my environment, people, my circle, people around me that I know very well. So I believe if we can solve some of the issues they brought up to me, they will be able to join DeFi and crypto in general. So GloryFinance went from this idea, and we want to solve these three main problems. So let me share my screen with you guys, so I can show you guys the website of GloryFinance, the different functionalities and features that we're going to bring. I'll talk a little bit later about microfinance and what we're trying to do here with microfinance. It's very interesting. So our project is static audited, and then we also have got our KYC from Shore DeFi. So our goal again is to bridge the gap between people and the blockchain, because we do believe that this is that should be the main focus and concern for all Web3 projects right now. Again, we come back to the same question: how good is a technology if no one can use it? It's just a waste of research, energy, and time. We believe personally within our team that there is actually enough technology out there to provide all the necessities and services to newcomers. But then again, the problem is within the users. So our project would actually offer the classic, let's say, all DeFi current product, trending product, like the cross-chain aggregation protocol, the cross-chain yield optimizer for people who want to stake and invest. It will offer a P2P lending borrowing protocol, some microfinance product, and last but not least, an all-in-one DeFi wallet. But our focus, guys, let me make this very clear. Our focus is not on the technology. We believe this is nothing new. P2P lending, borrowing, cross-chain aggregation, and all this. It's nothing new. It exists already. But what we're trying to do is this: try to bring these projects while solving the DeFi issues. Number one. So here's how we plan to solve these 3 issues, and let me share with you guys. So number one, the complexity issue. We figure out that to solve this problem, we need to start from the ground, from scratch. Number one, by simplifying the jargon, the words used in the vocabulary of DeFi. So we won't be using any complex words like stake, impermanent loss, and so on. We will be using simple words. Also, our functions, our smart contracts, will be designed in a way to make every action, every function that you want to use, reduce to 1 or 2 actions at maximum. For example, if you want to stake or invest in a pool, you can just do it in few clicks, 1 or 2 clicks maximum, of course, including connecting your wallets. So we believe by simplifying the words used here, and also by making our smart contract, reducing them to single actions, that would help a lot. Now, this is our main focus, guys, and this is what I want to share with you today. And I would love to, get your questions about it, and also, hear your thoughts and opinion about it. So we figure out to solve the poor UI issue, we want to offer the possibility for users to customize their own UI. Now, I know, I believe this is very new within the DeFi. Actually, I've never seen a project that took this approach. So we're going to allow people to entirely customize their user interface. What we mean by entirely customize your user interface is to, first of all, change the easy stuff, like changing the colors, the font, the themes. Not only that, but deciding what they want to view. We're going to offer what we call a all-in-one dashboard, DeFi dashboard. So this all-in-one dashboard will have, I think we will route, mainly in the beginning, we will route all the existing functions or features within, the most used features within the DeFi, like the P2P, like the cross-chain, and a wallet for people to store and send their tokens. And we're gonna put it all in one single dashboard. Now, we're gonna add news feed, for example. We're gonna also allow people to connect their Twitter feed to our own dashboard. Along with that, we're gonna add a community section where people, a little social feed where people can chat, share a blog about their activities, as well as a statistics section. I'll share with you guys everything we're gonna include it in this all-in-one dashboard. Now, this all-in-one dashboard will be fully customizable, meaning you can decide what to view. You can, remove information you don't want to view. It will be your little hub, your little DeFi hub to carry out all your activities without the needs of changing platform every time you want to change a product. Now, I have a video here. I'm not going to play it for you guys now because I think it's going to take time. So I will invite you. I'll send you the link of the video right now, and I invite you all to go take a look at it on the website, so you can understand more about what we plan to do and how we plan to do it. It's again, basically the customization part will come here and explains to you the concept behind GloryFinance. Before I move on back to you guys, let me introduce our 2 other business units, because GloryFinance is an umbrella of 3 business units. Number 1, GloryFi, which is the DeFi arm of GloryFinance. Number 2, the GloryFi Labs. So GloryFi Labs will be a blockchain infrastructure provider. We, with our deep expertise in finance, we would like to offer a blockchain infrastructure to financial institutions, and later on provide integrated solutions to businesses who would like to include the blockchain in their own core business. Now, let me give some real life examples so you guys understand. Let's say we have a company from Singapore that would like to move their database fully on chain. So GloryFi Labs will be able to create that blockchain for them, give them the tool, customize the tools for them to manage it, and as well have the maintenance, the daily maintenance on it. And we're going to work mainly with financial institutions who who would like to provide institutional services, financial services within the blockchain. That's number one. So this also goes and follows our mission, which is to bridge the gap between people, businesses, society, and blockchain, because we do believe this vision, this mission statement needs to appear in everything we do. Because if we believe we want to contribute to the space, we want to grow the blockchain user base, we need to focus. We need to be user centric. We need to focus on how and answer the question of how can we onboard new users? How can my cousin, my Uber driver, my friend at work start using crypto like I do? How? So again, we go from that assumption and we try to find the answers to it. And this is what GloryFinance is trying to do. Last but not least, before I move on, we have a spin-up, which will be an education, a tech and blockchain education academy, which will provide courses about the blockchain. It goes from beginners courses to advanced courses. It goes from how to use how to connect a wallet, how to create your wallet in the beginning, how to use DeFi protocols, how to invest, how to swap, and it goes until providing programming and smart contract courses. So it will be a full academy that will provide actually tutorials and learning material to people that want actually to jump in the blockchain industry, and also to people who are within the blockchain industry. So people here can pay, of course, with crypto as well as via currency, and they can pay using our token. This is our ecosystem of GloryFinance. We can talk about it, guys, later if you have any questions about our partnership. We're gonna first build on BNB chain, then move to Polygon, and then here is the token of GloryFinance. I believe we can talk about it, answer some questions, because I do believe the questions will be around the token. So our token, it will be a super utility and governance token that will be the backbone of GloryFinance ecosystem. We have just a little thing to mention, then I move the mic to you guys. We have something called real yield. Of course, you guys know already real yield. So we're gonna distribute revenues from the 3 business units to the real holders now. And pay attention to this. We said that we have a real life business, which is the GloryFi Lab. So the question is, how do we distribute? Are we planning to distribute the revenues of the labs on fiat currency to holders? The answer is yes. So we don't want to call this real yield. We want to call this real yield 2.0. Now it's going to be a very interesting experience for us. So we want to distribute the revenues we generate from the labs. Let's say a company pays us in cash, in dollars, in euro, for example. We want to distribute a part of that revenue also to users and the holders. And for that, of course, we will need to work closely with Chainlink, that they have actually a solution for how to connect off-chain data to on-chain data. We can come back to this and explain it later. And later on, we want to allow Glory token holders to actually purchase stake in the company that is GloryFinance. So our project is user centric as well. Also, it's a community token. 70% of our total supply is for the community. Only 10% is for the team, and will be locked for 2 years. Right now, we're undergoing an ICO. Also, I can share about it later. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts, guys, your questions, and anything you would like to share with me. Up to you guys.
Okay. Tell me, can you post a link to your previous project Position Exchange?
Sure,
if that's not a problem.
Sure, I'll open it here. Here we go. So it's a trading protocol. It's a fully, I think it's the first ever fully decentralized trading protocol where people can actually trade futures contract fully on chain. Unlike DYDX, for example, or GMX that are actually hybrid, Position Exchange is fully decentralized.
Okay. Also, is the app for DeFi for GloryFinance, is it finished or?
No, currently, let me share the roadmap with you guys. I have it opened here. At the end of this month, probably the beginning of April, we're planning to launch the first deck of product of the DeFi arm, which will be here. The decks on on the BNB chain with limit orders and P2P functions, the yield farming aggregator, and the yield farming boost mechanism that I can explain to you guys, and the all-in-one DeFi dashboard, the V1, the first version of the dashboard. So all of this will be launched, I think, in less than 30 days, I would say, from now.
Okay. Will you have a private sale and pre-sale?
Yes. So currently,
And how much?
We have. Sorry, say again. How much we're planning to raise?
Yeah.
So we actually have a long range for the raise. We initially plan to raise $9 million for the whole fundraise. We have successfully. Let me share with you guys an article very quickly. We actually have a VC, a venture capital that invested in equity. The company behind GloryFinance. They invested $3.5 million. This is our Twitter. Let me share the article with you guys over here. You guys can go take a look. So a Korean venture capital decided to invest, but mainly the investment will be actually in the labs rather than on the DeFi arm. Of course, the DeFi arm also will get a part of the investment, but it will be mainly on the labs. The Korean venture capital specialize in in IT infrastructure. They do smart cities in Korea, Vietnam, Singapore, and different countries. And they figured out they need actually a blockchain entity to provide blockchain infrastructure and services to companies in there. And we have successfully closed a deal of $3.5 million over 2 years on equity. Now, for the token side, we are undergoing an ICO right now. We have a whitelist right now. It's open for registration in here. You guys can register in here. Let me share a little bit about the ICO and what we plan to do. So our total supply is very small. It's 150 million. And we plan to actually burn a lot of tokens since we have a 1% tax on the token. Half of it will be automatically burned whenever the token is bought or sold. We in this whitelist, the current ongoing whitelist, the price is 70 cents. We only will select 2,000 people randomly from everyone who register. If you want to register, you have to deposit at least $100 to participate in the round. I think the round will end, guys, in 5 days from now. Yeah, so you guys can go to our docs. Let me share the link of our docs so people can go to learn more about GloryFinance.
It's like 10% of tokens.
Yes, correct. 10% of the total supply.
Okay. And how much of that is going to liquidity?
So we plan to have 40% go directly to liquidity of the amount raised.
Okay. Anyone else got questions from the community? Feel free to ask in VC.
And once we move on to the next project, if you guys still have questions about any of the previous ones, you can still ask in chat.
Yeah, the guys will probably answer. Bora, do you have a question?
What would be the estimated starting market cap on launch?
So it will range. It will depend on how much token we actually sell. In the ICO. But I would say it's between $1 million to $9 million if actually we successfully sell all the tokens. But realistically speaking, I think between $1 and $2 million would be the starting initial market cap. Because the tokens that we don't sell in the ICO will be automatically burned. So from the 15 million of the 10% that is reserved for the ICO, tokens that are not sold will be automatically burned.
Anyone else? Boria, you have a question for sure.
I actually don't have any question. Well, because I was doing stuff, so I wasn't fully paying attention.
That's all right.
But I was gonna go back, the recording and anyways check it out. But So, did we talk about the pre-sales and private sale? Any of that? All that
Yeah,
information?
Yeah.
already.
And after the whitelist, we're gonna that it is ongoing right now, that will finish in 5 days. We will undergo a series of IDOs. We have just partnered with Gotbit, and I think we're gonna target mainly Chair 1 and Chair 2 launch pads. I think we're gonna launch our IDO in the next 9 days, I would say, around the 20th of March.
Do you have any whitelist for our community?
What is for this community? Your community, you mean?
Yeah.
Actually, we have a whitelist here, open for everyone
Oh, what's the
to
valuation
participate.
at launch?
The valuation at launch, so it will vary from $1 million to $9 million, depending how much we sell in our ICO. Realistically speaking, I'd say between $1 to $2 million.
And
40% to liquidity.
And 40% of that will go to liquidity. Correct.
have you guys had any
Visiting.
sales
Mhm.
already?
We have a couple of sales already. We had a private round, basically for people from Position Exchange, people who stick with us and came to this new project. We have sold around $350,000, $350. Only so 200 of it actually is on team tokens, and 150 of it is just private round that will be distributed also following the same vesting that we have for the whole ICO. Actually, the price was cheaper. It was not 70 cents, it was 50 cents.
So, what was the total dollar value raised so far?
So it's $350,000.
Okay.
Aside, of course, from the $3.5 million that is not on token, that is on equity.
Awesome. Thank you.
Hello. I'm sorry. My
Hi.
network is broken. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear.
Sorry, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Ziggy, what's up?
I had to leave and come back. I don't know if you can hear me now.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, and thank you. So I was wondering, the P2P lending and borrowing platform they're going to, utilize in your ecosystem. I was wondering, how would that go about in the aspect of, providing liquidity? Because if you're going to be borrowing, there has to be an equal amount of lenders, and that's sort of a problem these days. When you don't have, you don't have the same amount given out to the same amount that wants to get. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to draw, the picture I'm trying to draw. So how do you guys have like something of sort of a liquidity that is already, that will be present there already in case of the, let me say, the influx of borrowers? You guys can supplement if there are no actual people from the community that wants to, lend out.
Understand. Yes, understand. Great.
I
So
was rambling a
there's
bit
two.
there, but I don't know. I hope I asked the question in a way that you understood.
Yeah, I got your question. I understand very well. Actually, since our lending borrowing is mainly P2P, so the function of P2P would not actually need from us to provide any liquidity, because again, it's going to be peer-to-peer between users. But for the normal lending borrowing protocol that we're trying to do, that will utilize existing pools of different lending borrowing protocols that exist right now. Because again, like I mentioned earlier, our focus is not mainly on creating new technology or innovation. We want to utilize the existing technology. We actually will route a lot of existing products to our platform. What we're trying to do is to shape that product and reskin it in a very easy and understandable way so people can actually use it. Because the problem is not the technology right now. The problem is people are not using it.
Yes, yes, that's definitely a good point. Which that was why the question actually was that was why I was sitting on that question in the first place, because as you said, people are not using it that much. So especially, I would say especially because I've had some would I say experience on this lending and borrowing side. So I'm going to say especially in the lending side, the volume is not high, or the people willing to lend, they are not as high as people that want to borrow. So I was wondering, that just where my confusion came from. But yeah, you made a good point by saying you're trying to improve the improve on other people's products basically. But yeah, thank you actually. But I will keep an eye. I love to see this fly.
Thank you. Thanks for the compliment. Thank you.
James, any closing words?
Well, a big thank you to everyone to ARU for hosting us in here. Thank you for the listeners taking the time to listen to our project. I do invite everyone to go just take a look at our project, go learn more about it. You can use we have a light paper, we have as well a docs. Go to our community, we have a lot of admins that can answer all your questions. Thank you very much for having me today, and hope to talk to you guys very soon. Thank you.
Great to have you here, guys, and thanks for the great project presentation. Also, you can always post stuff about project here, so it's not a problem.
Great, appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I would like to say that both projects so far were really great, and that would be real prime candidates for a full-on AMA. So what we're going to do today at the end of this open mic is we're going to have a 24-hour long poll, and you can't vote unless you're in here, because I'm going to turn off all forwarding. So you have to be actually in Anti-Ruggers United to be able to vote. And the winner between all three projects is going to get a very nice gift.
Okay. Benson, are you here? From KingPad.
Hello. How's it going?
Great, and you?
Decent, man. Not at my best, actually. I got a cold. The weather here is just funny, so I got a bit of a cold. But for the rest of things, I can't complain, honestly. Thank you.
Are you ready?
I was born ready, my friend.
Then let's go.
Let's get it started. So, well, hi everyone. How you doing?
Yeah.
Benson here, speaking on the mic. Boriakos, nice seeing you again. We've been in touch a lot of times in the past, and yeah, happy to have you here as well. Of course, hosting, and El Jefe, thanks for the great job you're doing so far. We are KingFinance. Okay, KingFinance is obviously a registered company in Dubai, and we're basically pioneering crypto in so many different ways. KingFinance has 3 branches at the end of the day, which are sustaining the whole economy of the business. They are all using DeFi one way or another, and of course using all of the technology that we can access to of course show society and show people that DeFi and Web3 connectivity really changes the way your business can work. So these 3 branches we have one is King Floki. It is a very, very accessible web GL multiplayer game where people can just play along. It's full on multiplayer, and it's web based. 5 megabytes of download speed, and you can play straight away. It's built for everyone. We have KingPad, which is what we're going to talk about today, which is our launch pad. It's an elite launch pad, of course, paving the way to showing investors money is made through mainly investing into projects that give you a certain sustainability over time. Okay. And finally, we have Kingland. Kingland is our third branch, which includes, of course, real estate, both digital and physical, tangible. With this said, the digital assets of Kingland will be within King Floki, within the world of King Floki. It will be land assets. Through, of course, our dynamics, people will be able to get passives from their land, okay? Whether it's with advertising, whether it is with competitions held in their land plots, and so on. And eventually, this same year, we are starting to purchase our real estate portfolio to then, of course, basically tokenize these properties that are already generating revenue and give passives to the respective investors. Okay, so today we're here for KingPad. We're here to talk about KingPad. KingPad has been definitely in a lot of mouths these last few weeks. Our Telegram chat is already sitting at 5.2k members in about 10 days, which is very remarkable. So if you're listening to me and you want to join KingPad Finance on Telegram, okay, it's t.me/KingPad Finance. And KingPad Finance is literally building a dream user experience to invest in projects that are sustainable. How do these projects become, or how are they sustainable? Through, of course, a layout of professionalism, precise calculations, and overall very good guiding from our experts. Most of the problems with launch pads is that they are open. They allow everyone to launch, whether it's a scammer, whether it's an inexperienced person, whether it's maybe someone that wants to do good for the space. But again, it's not usually the case. When you open the tunnel and you open your doors, free entry, these things happen. Scammers open their eyes. This is my opportunity to take money. Inexperienced business people try to do businesses that never work because they didn't have the experience, they didn't have the knowledge. Therefore, KingPad is built as a launch pad for crypto startups. That's how we call them. Without startups, the world would be nothing. Every company you see out there that you are consuming, Apple, Google, Facebook, Twitter, these all started as startups. Without eyes on them and without the proper investors, they would have never succeeded. Now, there is such a thing as crypto startups. There are great minds out there that want to get their word out there and their products. They don't have the resources. Well, here is KingPad. KingPad offers a 360-degree layout for projects that are capable and able to understand better how to launch. Now, with this, we are fighting against the monopoly as well that's happening mainly in the Binance Smart Chain with Pink Sale. I hate to mention it because they don't even deserve my time, but when you take the opportunity to be there and have more than 90% of the market share, and you're just mistreating the community, the crypto community. You're doing whatever you can to scrap out every penny out of people and out of entrepreneurs. And on top of that, you're giving free road for scammers to keep scamming people with fake tags like Safu, KYC, when you're KYCing literally someone in a third world developed country that is definitely not capable of managing a crypto business. So that's where KingPad comes. Honestly, KingPad comes with our expertise, with our experience in the space after so many years, and with our influence too. We're very reputable people in the space. Me and Travlad, we're pretty big. We have a lot of eyes on us. So with that, we are laying out a very powerful launchpad that is already associated with the best of the best in the space. We are officially partnered with Certic. We have special services with them, which I don't think any other crypto business has right now. We are fully partnered with Assure DeFi, offering better prices and faster KYCs, as well as, of course, we have their legal team on our launches, watching closely in case. We provide a full team of Solidity financial assistance to, of course, lay out a proper tokenomics for the projects. And on top of that, we provide a huge amount of eyes on that possible startup and project. That's pretty much what KingPad is. Honestly, KingPad is bound to be out by the 1st of April. So we're very close. Our first project launching is Cradle of Sins. It is a MOBA virtual reality game that's already on Steam. They've been developing for 5 years. They want to touch on the crypto space. And they came to us. They came to us for their launch. After being incubated by GemPad, and they came to us for their launch. They wanted to have big impact. They came to us. We checked their tokenomics already existing, and we decided to give it a flip. And that's how things are. Their tokenomics was not the best. So we took it and said, hey guys, do you want to work with us? Yes, we do. Great. This needs a flip. We took their tokenomics, flipped it, balanced it, tested it, and now it's balanced. Now it works. And it's an issue because a lot of people don't have the tools and the knowledge to do sustainable tokenomics. And that's why KingPad is so important. We need to start teaching people that building a balanced cryptocurrency or a balanced token is just as difficult as building a balanced company in real life. So that's pretty much what KingPad is about. If you have any questions, I'm excited to take them. Make sure to join KingPad Finance.
You said it's different from other launchpads. Can you tell me how it works?
Yeah, for sure.
How do you protect your investors?
Perfect. Yeah. So as I said before, Hefe, we are. I don't want to say the word centralized because it scares a lot of people out, but we are a closed to list launchpad. Okay, every launchpad out there can list their project without major previous filters. It's just so easy to list your project out there. We are a very elite centralized launchpad with a team of professionals that assists these projects into every single bit of their launching processes. As I said before, whether it is balancing their tokenomics, whether it is building them dApps, whether it is helping them to get their word out there. It's a full-on 360-degree experience for projects that have a good product, a good team, and of course, great long-term returns. So that's how we're very different. On top of that, our user experience is super simple, super accessible. What I happen to have to experience with many launchpads is that their user interfaces are way too busy, way too complicated. Your screen is filled with numbers and with info that you don't need most of the time. We are straight to the point, simple, yet very effective. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question, mate.
Okay. When launch?
Will launch? That's a great question. As I said before, we are KingPad is a branch of KingFinance. King is already launched. We're sitting at 5 million market cap right now, $5 million of market cap right now. It is the token that rules the rest of the company in the crypto space. But KingFinance is different once again, because we are a company, a registered company in Dubai that has different branches basically that work as a tangible business. We generate revenue that then inflows back into the token. So more than one launch. I think the question is, when will be KingPad ready? KingPad is ready on the 1st of April, and our first launch that we're hosting there, as I said before, is Cradle of Sins, which is a game that is already on Steam and has been in development for 5 years. So a pretty good demonstration that big businesses want to do crypto too.
Nice, great. Guys, do you have any questions from the community?
Yeah, what are the costs? Or you know how you said basically this is a quality or a quantity type of launch pad, so you guys will have to accept the project themselves, and I'm assuming thoroughly vet them, right, in the vetting process before going to launch with you. And in a decentralized launch pad, there's always like this is the standard cost, for example, like 2% tokens or 2% raise in ETH or BNB, and then tokens 1 or 2%, something like that. So since you guys are doing it a different way, and it's going to be only maybe like one project per week, let's say, how will you what is like the fee structure that you will go with for the projects to launch? Like if I wanted to launch with you, let's say, what would be the steps I would need to take, and what am I planning to offer you for this service?
Well, that's a great question there. Yeah, makes total sense. When it comes to the customers, we vet them thoroughly. We reunite with them, have a call. We check all their paperwork. Once we are half convinced, we start diving into in-depth detail of how to make that work. If it's already laid out pretty well, then we move on to the pricings, and there are many revenue sources in KingPad for our company and for the Token King as well. And amongst these are the so-called tags. Now, our tags are way simpler than, of course, the tags you see around. They have just 20 tags and none of them make sense. Safu. Oh, wow. Yeah, super Safu. KYC. Oh, yeah, but what KYC? Our tags are more specific. The KYC is mandatory with Assure DeFi. Then you receive the Assure DeFi KYC tag on the launch. So it's paid. With and through our partnership with Assure DeFi, we manage, of course, to generate revenue through every KYC, which is mandatory. We have our percentage there, which is more than fair enough. Second of all, and second and only other mandatory requirement is the boost tag. We've called it boost because it boosts the project's audience. What this includes is all of the listing. It includes an AMA in KingPad Finance, which is once again now at 5.3k members almost in Telegram, okay? And it includes basically the standard reach to general investors, to the general community. And that's a 3k flat rate. And those are the two only mandatory payments that a project has to go through. For the rest, we have many variables. We have the super fast CertiK audit, where you will receive a tag that says you're CertiK audited. If you come with any other audit, you're more than welcome. but you won't receive the Certic tag. You will receive a standard green tag that says audited. So we make revenue through Certic as well, which is top one, I would say, in terms of name, reputation, service. Then we have the endorsed tag. When you are endorsed, it means that, of course, our co-founder Travlad is endorsing your project, is helping you through his own and personal social media to, of course, push the project to the next level. Our endorsement packages help projects throughout large periods of time, and they start at 10K. They can eventually go to way more, and that's also another business revenue that we have. And on top of that, we have, of course, the in-house tag, which means that if the listing project has used any of our in-house services, whether it's a DApp, whether it's the tokenomic layout, our financial team, they will pay for that, of course, and they will receive the in-house tag. On top of that, okay, those are the main revenue, fixed revenue sources that we have per se. On top of that, since we're a centralized platform offering so much to the user, we take 5% of the raised amount, meaning that if you raise 1 million, we're taking 50K. Only fair when you offer such a good service with so many employees behind, and of course, such a detailed service where you go through projects step by step and help them be better. You know, we take projects and make them better. We're not one of these launch pads that allows you to launch, boom, do whatever you fucking want. That's it, you know. Good luck. You know, that's not us. That's not our style. Our style is we take your project, we make it better, and we help you grow, and we grow together. So that's pretty much our revenue sources. Listing, let's say 4 projects a month. Easily, KingPad could be generating around a fair net profit of 1 to 2 million on the first year. We are definitely stoked because that then inflows back into King, basically.
Great. Ziggy, you can ask.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yeah, Ziggy.
Okay. Nice one. Good stuff. Obviously, as you said, the name have been making rounds around, especially Telegram here. So this is not something new to us. But I was wondering, would there be, even after all the efforts, it's not like this is going to be an assurance of some sort. So I was wondering if there'll be sort of like a fee the project owners will pay, so that if there are some problems that arise post launch, you can actually refund or like pay this out to people that contributed basically. So maybe a fee that there's like something that will to cut the cost, the loss on people that are on pre-sale investors basically. Because one of the problems we have with the existing ones, I'm not part of your team, so I can say like pre-sale or like pink sale or something. So one of those one after their launches mostly, let's say after a pre-sale, and the project just like dies after the pre-sale, immediately after the pre-sale, not actually even having like 24 hours to actually grow the project and something like that. So I was wondering if there's something even after everything that has been put in place to make a project work and it doesn't, would there be sort of something you guys will put in place so if it doesn't, you can reimburse people that invested in that pre-sale stage past a particular point, maybe like 2 days after the project or a week after the project. Just you can invalidate that contribution after the project has been set in stone or has actually gotten a good footing. But I was wondering if there's something. I don't know if I don't know how to put this in straightforward words. So I'm just saying a lot of words, but I don't know if you're getting me. Is that like something you
Yeah,
guys put in place? Yeah.
I understood it well, Ziggy. that's why KingPad is a very, very centralized launchpad to avoid these things happening. Once again, companies, startups that launch at KingPad are very, very, very business based, business focused. They have great products, great services. There won't be a need to even consider this that you're saying, because this is not a free tunnel to scammers like Pinksail is. We're not allowing it to happen. You're having 3-4 launches a month of actual companies that will grow through the course. Now, of course, if one of these companies, startups, or projects that we list goes on and they don't manage to make it through, but they work hard, but their product just doesn't go out there, it's completely fine. You know, that's what business is about. You can open a restaurant tomorrow, try and try and try, and if it's just not making numbers and bringing people over, then you will eventually, of course, have to close the restaurant, right? It's not the same as you mentioned Pinksail having projects labeled as KYC, SAFU, and they rug pull. They literally rug people's money and steal people's money. This won't ever happen at KingPad because, again, that's why it's fully centralized. You will not be able to launch anything on KingPad if you don't go through the whole process, and all things needs to be ticked: product development, team, KYC, audit, company registration. All of these things will be ticked. So no, it won't happen, Ziggy. But thanks for the question.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the answer.
All right, I have a question. All right, so the big issue in this space, obviously, than just the blatant scams, there's also the slow rugs, which tend to be, quote unquote, legit projects that never really intended to be legit. And they just slow rug based on tokenomics because they have too many tokens for themselves that they say they're going to do for XYZ, but they, end up just selling for their own pockets. But other than that, we are here right in this space to make money, right? We're not here to change the world because, to make the new Green Deal, to reduce pollution or anything like that. We are really here because we are here to make money, which only requires a small amount versus something like the stock market or, trading on the futures exchange, or, you need a fairly solid sized account to manage your risk and make enough profit. Here, you can throw in $100 and get a 5x, 10x, whatever, and it was a lot easier before than it is now. And one of the reasons why is because there's not as much degen or, aped or, all these investors. They all lost their money due to Pinksail, due to all these scams. There's no more of that, free money floating around as it used to be like, a year or two ago. So it's a lot harder to, for projects to go up, for investors to make money and this and that, right? So my question is, I guess the biggest reason to make money in the project, it's not really how solid the project is, how solid their revenue sources are, how their product is. It really comes down to supply and demand. If you can have the best, most amazing project in the world, but you overvalue it and you oversell it, chances are that at launch, it's not gonna really go up, and investors are gonna get tired, getting pissed off. They'll wait a couple days, don't see any X's, and they're gonna sell off, and then it's gonna basically just die off. Even if it's like solid revenue, which a lot of projects still do, but then they either change their promises and they, like, for example, they promise 30% buybacks, 30% revenue share, but nothing's really forcing them to really meet their end of the agreement. That's one thing. And second of all, it has to do with the hype, right? If you have the best use case, the most amazing project, but nobody knows about it, then people are not going to buy. And same thing with the utilities. Like I said, if you have the best utility, the best product, but it's overvalued, then chances are you're gonna lose money. And if it's something that's like a meme token, but it's super hyped and there's low supply, high demand, then chances are it might not even last a week, but you might make money on it. That's kind of what the whole degen mentality comes from, right? So my question is, for the projects that you guys will be launching, how do you like ensure that investors have a very solid chance of making money? Because if you think about all these fair launches, no one really makes money in those except the devs, because they oversell. There's not enough buy pressure. There's not enough hype. They can't market after launch, and then it just dies off. And that's why one of the reasons why it's harder for pre-sales now is because investors have learned their lessons, and they're like, fair launch, stay away. Huge hard cap, stay away. You know what I mean? So that's kind of my question, and it's a very long, question, but I think that's the biggest issue, I think, with pre-sales and launch pads right now is how do you actually launch profitable projects? Not like solid projects that won't rug, but actually profitable projects.
That's a great question. Well, that's when it comes, the law of supply and demand. You need to draw the line and find a balance between, of course, the hype that you see and the amount that the project is trying to raise. We've seen projects that had no hype trying to launch in a week and asking for 1 million of hard cap. And it's like, that's not going to happen, mate. Honestly, like, you're not going to make it. Therefore, finding a balance is very important. Second off, when it comes to the hype of things, it's about putting eyes on something that is attractive. And what best way to put eyes on something that actually having a follower base, that actually having people that follow you, which is something that Pinkcell doesn't have. If you go into Pinkcell on Twitter, which is something I like to look at because it's very funny. Their last tweet was tweeted 1 hour ago. They have 4 likes, 1 retweet, no comments. You go into the next one, 4 hours ago, tweeted, 3 likes, no retweets, 1 comment. Now, you tell me how that kind of audience is actually healthy for a project. Now, they fill pre-sales because they are filled with fake volumes, basically. Now, that's something that's not going to happen at, of course, KingPad. When you ask about the traction, when you ask about the hype, I agree. I agree to a certain extent. But when you have good development, a good product, something that people are looking for, and something that is eventually, let's say, usable for society in a certain field, you will eventually, if you keep going, you will eventually get more and more eyes on you. It's a slower process, but it's a much surer one. Like, literally, a lot of people like gambling. A lot of people join crypto to gamble, but then you realize that if you come as a gambler, your chances of making money are literally 0.001%. And this happened to me as well. When I joined as a gambler 3 years ago plus, I basically lost all my funds. And then I started making up my mind, and I was like, this market has a lot of room to grow. Let's stop gambling. Let's stop expecting the easy money, and let's start working for it. And that's when I became the community's admin. From there, I started building a fan base kind of thing. From there, and that's how you realize that it's everything about having eyes on you, and that's something that KingPad is already offering. KingPad's literally offering one of the most reputable influencers in the BSC, in the Binance Smart Chain, and in crypto in general as a co-founder already. There's no other launchpad that has that. So that's how we will try to fight against that supply and demand issue that crypto has. Now, it's not, don't take my words for granted when I say we will fight with it. We will try our best for sure. There's nothing guaranteed, of course. If everything at KingPad makes 10, 20, 30, 100 X's, then we'd be geniuses, honestly. We'd literally be out of this world. But the only thing that we're guaranteeing is that the investments are legit. The investments are made with due diligence. And of course, you're investing into something, not in thin air, which is what pisses me off. People just throwing money, wasting their money. That's not what you will experience at KingPad. You see a product, you see the layout, you understand it, and you then invest or not. You decide if you want to be an early investor of the future or not. But again, throughout these things, Moria, we will try our best to make sure that every project succeeds. That's it.
And were you you talked a little bit about this already? Like, you're gonna have different packages. So, like, my last question was more about so the big thing with fair launches is supposedly it's because the developers don't really know their own buy pressure. They don't really know what the demand is. So they're like, okay, we'll just do a fair launch and we'll see what happens. But that's really bad for the investors, right? Like we have discussed previously. But the best way of doing it is to do your research, figure out what's the sweet spot, you need to have a hard cap, you need to have a whitelist, make it valuable, make people want to fight, for a whitelist spot. That's how all the projects in the past mooned, and that's how they will continue to moon, because you have to offer them less supply versus what the demand is. That's the only way to really make it profitable. No, at a launch, as an investor during a launch or pre-sale. So my question is basically toward the last question is, will you guys be offering them some kind of assistance or advice, kind of how to get their numbers spot on, so they basically have a good idea of what targets to achieve? For example, they want to have 1,000 BNB or hard cap, and you're going to knock them down a peg and be like, well, realistically, guys, you could only probably fill 300, and let's reach that 300 goal.
It's funny that you say that, because that's what we just did with our first launch with Cradle of Sins. They came expecting to raise $1.2 million. We knocked them that down by almost 60%. They're now raising 560K because it was unreal. It was just unrealistic. Overall, it just made no sense to us. And we told them, you want to launch with us? You stick to what we tell you, because we understand the market way better than you do. Yes, we want to launch with you. Then that's great. Then you will listen to what we have to say here. We already did it with Cradle, honestly. Like they came with 1.3 million that they wanted to raise, and we've lowered that to 560K. $560,000. I asked them. The first question I asked them was like, "Why do you need so much money raised?" No, we don't really need the money. Then why are you raising so much? A lot of projects just do it to show to show their dicks, basically, and how big they are, but it's not the way to do it. You need to make sure that you're realistic to what you have. So yeah, definitely, we're already doing that, and we will keep doing so to make sure that supply and demand curve is well balanced.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect, because that's basically, I think, what's needed in this space. Because a lot of these projects, they like the game one. Because I actually advised another one that literally had a game that's been out for years, and they wanted to monetize it and turn it into crypto and add NFTs and all that stuff. And I think it made like $15 million over the lifetime of the game so far, like in the real world, not in crypto. And these devs, these like guys, that's the thing what you said earlier too. A lot of these guys, they have no idea how the blockchain works. They wanted to raise like $5 million, and they were asking me, what's liquidity? Oh, we need liquidity. Like I looked at their chart, the distribution chart, they had 0 for liquidity. I'm like, how are you guys gonna launch this? If you want investors to pay you $5 million, what are you giving them in return? You know what I mean? And these are like actual like big, solid, game devs that have been running multi-million-dollar companies, and they have no idea.
That's the thing. That's why they need guidance. That's why you need to guide people through the process, because a lot of people have great knowledge in their area of expertise, but when it comes to crypto, they literally are the most ignorant beings, which is normal. When you join something that you never touched before, then of course you're ignorant. It's like if I take someone that only does crypto and I bring them to, I don't know, build a car, they'll definitely not be able to build a car. Same thing. That's why people need guidance. That's why you cannot allow people to launch pre-sales without filters. Like, it just doesn't work. You're basically putting people at risk for the sake of it.
Yeah, I agree, and I support that, because that's literally like my biggest gripe with the way how most launch pads have been operating now, is that they're just allowing fair launches, and fair launches are almost never good for the investor.
They're probably never fair though. Like they just start in the wrong way. It just doesn't make sense. So I agree.
Yeah,
I fully agree with you.
yeah, it's not a fair launch. The only ones who ever win in a fair launch are usually the devs and also the launch pad.
Exactly. I've always called them unfair launches instead of fair launches, because they're very unfair to the investors. It's so silly. How easy it is to confuse investors on the wording, saying, "Yeah, this is a fair launch. Yeah, so I'll enter first. Let me get this money ready." You will never get the entry you expect. It's absolutely unfair.
No, I'm not even talking about the actual fair launches that launch like a stealth launch. I'm talking
No,
about
no,
the
yeah.
pre-sale type of fair launches, what they call fair launches, the one where there's no hard cap.
Oh, yeah, yeah. No, I feel that. It's usually following that pyramid pattern though, like that Ponzi scheme pattern when it comes to the fair launches, though. Honestly, because there's no way to sustain it. Like there's no balance. And as I said at the beginning, the mathematical calculations are so important to find a balance. It's like if you open a business and you don't know what the costs will be, yet you won't know what the entries will be either, then you're literally lost in the middle of nowhere, because you don't know, again, how much demand you will have, how much supply you'll be able to give. It's absolutely unfair to the whole scheme of things. So yeah, I agree on that too.
All right, awesome. So does anyone actually have any questions? Because I do want to have this discussion like more in depth about like the launch pad, think sale, and just the way the space is and what needs to be done. And I talked to Travelat about this. I don't know if he probably doesn't have time today, and I think we've been you've been here for a while, we've been here for a while, so probably have another open mic specifically to talk about kind of what we were discussing earlier before the recording started, just about the way that they have been scamming and what needs to be done, and like what's better for the space.
Yeah, definitely, mate. Definitely. I think we can have one of those. We need definitely another space for that, because it's very dense. If we want to jump into detail on the technicals of what's been happening, how people have been misled, and how they actually, you know, build a whole monopoly tricking people into investing in thin air that is eventually leading into slow rugs, which is highly legal too. It just makes no sense that these guys keep operating anyways. But we'll have a chat about that. We can have a chat about that on a full space about that. How about you call it maybe something along the lines of, I don't know, launchpad.
Yeah. Definitely. Will it be like Launchpad or Launchpad versus Pink Cell or something like that, you know? But basically, Pink Cell hating, dedicated open mic to hating on Pink Cell.
Yeah, if you can invite Saul over, I'll have a chat with him too. He just doesn't want to talk to me anymore.
I don't know if Saul will come, but maybe there's a couple other guys. No, most of the guys that I was cool with that were in Pink Cell left, and they went to other launch pads. I don't even know who's still over there.
Not many people, honestly, but that's why I would love to have Saul. I want to see his perspective on things.
Yeah. But, you know, I think what all he did is he probably bought one of those Ty Lopez master course classes of how to fake it till you make it. You know, here in my garage with my Lambo. And then the next one is here's my mansion. And I have all these books that you need to read to be smart. And he literally took that to heart, and he took the whole fake it till you make it mentality. And then he started a launch pad where they were, you know, initially filling it all themselves as all their own projects. And basically that's how they got big, is because people were like, oh, look, these guys are filling projects, is doing, you know, 5x, 10x every time. And literally when they're doing it themselves, of course, that's possible, right? And then you start off strong, you actually get hype, and then after that, it just goes downhill from there.
Exactly, yeah, but they still do it though. It's not that they just do it at the beginning. You check their fair launches and stuff, and they're just filled with fake volumes and fake numbers that they're just feeding themselves. So no real traction. I was just diving into the Twitter before with you guys, and you see it yourselves. Go into Pink Cell's Twitter. Tell me the audience they have. 2 likes per tweet. 90k followers. That's literally Pink Cell there. 90k followers, 2 likes per tweet. That's what you get. So it's I think they're still in that route of fake it till you make it. I mean,
this whole space is still like that. I mean, you look at some of these big Twitter guys, and you know, this space, and you look at their, you know, stats on tweets. They get like 10,000 plus 10,000 followers one day, minus 9,000 the next day, plus 12,000, you know, the next day, and it's like, that doesn't look very suspicious at all.
I know, I fucking know. He's whatever. I do hope that we start cleaning up the space, because it's definitely the time to do so. And yeah, it was lovely chatting to you. I'll have to go now. I'm also a bit sick today. Got a bit of a cold, so I wouldn't like to be talking for much longer. But thank you so much for the great chat. Honestly, had a great time.
Thank you, Benson. Great to have you here.
Yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for coming. And we'll definitely have to schedule one specifically to have this discussion, because this is actually one of my passions, and I've been speaking out about this for, you know, over a year. And I actually was so tempted to start exposing them and posting YouTube videos and all the screenshots and everything, like, since a year ago. But I'm like, you know what? It's not really worth my effort. But now that more and more things are coming out, then maybe it's, you know, maybe it's time. But yeah, so we'll definitely speak about that, and we were probably gonna, you know, have another open mic dedicated specifically to this topic. So yeah, thanks for coming, and it was really great to hear about KingPad and what you guys are doing differently in this space. And it's definitely, honestly, for me, like I said, if there are projects, for example, let's say you need to hold, you know, your tokens, which I think you do, right, to get whitelist spots. That's one of the things with the KingPad, is some of these projects you guys are going to launch. Like, to get like guaranteed whitelists, you're going to need to hold a certain amount of tokens, right? And honestly, like, for example, let's say you need like $1,000 worth of tokens, but if every single whitelist that you get is, you know, is based on, you know, historic performance, you're getting, you know, 3, 4, 5x almost immediately. These are actual like projects that do good. Then people are going to start thinking, and they're like, well, you know, like, economically, you know, I just got to hold these tokens and I'm basically getting free money, then of course it's going to be super hyped, right? And that's what you kind of have to like show the people, like, you know, through a performance history, through like a good, you know, good track record. And I think it's good. Basically, it's going to speak for itself. The results will speak for themselves.
Definitely yes, definitely yes. Can't agree more. So yeah, we'll definitely schedule that little AMA about the whole ping cell thread, and we'll definitely kill it there. There's so much to talk about. So yeah, guys, check out KingPad Finance anyways on Telegram. If you want to join our Telegram, more than happy to have you there. And yeah, start changing your mentality. Money does not come easy. Money does not come quick. Sometimes it maybe does, but you definitely want to look yourself into a bit more of a long-term vision when it comes to your money and to your funds. And I'll see you soon. I'll see you all soon. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Yes, yeah, take care.
Thank you. Okay, let's stop the recording.